Hello and good morning friends, welcome to CEC-UGC live lecture. For the students of journalism and mass communication, we have something very interesting today. Yes friends, today we have selected a very interesting topic for discussion, and the topic is farm journalism. It often appears to our mind how to write for the farmers. So dear friends, in this session today, we would discuss some important techniques which should be adopted while writing for the farmers. Dear friends, for this discussion today, we have with us in our studios Professor Dr. Devesh Kishore. Dr. Kishore is Professor Emeritus and Head of Journalism and Mass Communication Research, Makhan Lal Chaturvedi, National University of Journalism and Communication. So taking advantage from his experiences, let's try to understand how to write for the farmers. Hello sir, welcome to the EduSet lecture. I hope that for all the students of journalism, this topic, that is farm journalism, is going to be very interesting, and I hope that all the students are going to learn all the possible techniques which should be adopted by the journalist who is doing farm reporting. So over to you sir.
Thank you very much. As you rightly said, our discussion today will be how to write effectively for the farmers. As we all of us know that a group of farmers is different from the urban residents or people who live in urban areas. Therefore, writing for farmers is a more difficult task than writing for the urban people who are highly literate, and also they have more exposures to mass media. The questions we should ask ourselves before writing for farmers, that what farmers would like to read, are reading presently what type of magazines or newspapers. I think on the basis of the analysis research is done in this area, there are four important components, or four important areas which must be taken care of while writing for them. Not only for the farmers, even for the urban people who are living in cities, metros, for them also we should take care of it. But especially for the farmers, these four important points which we are going to discuss today must be taken care of. Number one, economic factors. Economic factors means basically we all know that farmers are busy in their profession for what? For making business out of it. That is their importance, and therefore anything which you will write for them and associate it with the benefits which will accrue in terms of money, in terms of profit, they would like to read it. They are not interested if you start saying, well, this will increase the productivity in the country, and this will help the country and also the world in increasing food production. They are more interested what is the yield they will get per acre or per biga if they adopt your technology, if you adopt the recommendations made by you. So they will always think in terms of economics, return per rupee of investment. They may not be economists themselves, but they understand, they are very intelligent and analytical. They are able to find out that if I spend 1 rupees extra, what is I am going to get back out of it. Therefore, if you are writing any message, any information, try to associate with the in terms of economic returns or economic benefits which they will get after accepting your information or recommendation. Second thing is, as you know, all the people who live in rural areas, basically they are in a community, they are having more social bindings, they have more cultural bindings, they are all together, they know each other well. So therefore, anything which will help them in improving their social status and improving their cultural background or information, they will be more interested. So, if you can associate that this particular information will help you in getting so much of the economic benefits, and through these economic benefits you can also see that some of those advantages of the new technology you are able to get it. So, try to correlate the information with the social and cultural benefits. Of course, the other important element is the professional benefit. They are doing farming since time immemorial. They perhaps know very much about the agriculture as a profession, as a business. But if you can associate and tell them, look, that if you adopt these types of practices, it will give you more benefit professionally. Let us take an example. Now, there are small farm machineries have been invented and they are available in the market. If you are talking about the farm machinery and small farm machines, then you can tell them that if you can use these farm machineries where you do not require sophisticated technology or you do not require a huge investment, then this will be really good. So, professionally you will be able to do the job quickly and in much better way. So, that is what has to be kept in mind while you are writing. So, the important thing which has to be always taken care of by the writers, that whatever I am writing, how much it will benefit economically, socially, culturally and also professionally. If we are able to associate our writing keeping these 4 important points in mind, they will read it. Second important thing which has to be taken care of, that whatever we are writing, it should be related to their needs. They would not like to read something which is not related to their present needs and related to their requirements. If you are trying to communicate certain information, we have now a big group of agricultural scientists in these countries. I think you are aware of it. There are about 69 agricultural universities and there are more than 100 institutes of ICAR which are working throughout the country on different crops and all that. There are almost about 6,000 to 7,000 scientists who are working on different aspects of agriculture. Now, if they have to write information for the farmers, then they must try to analyze what is that they require, what is the need which is pressing for them. For example, nowadays labor has become a big problem. Labor is not easily available in the rural areas. So, can we suggest them some type of cultural practices, some type of machines which can make their task easier and can take care of the shortage of the labor which is there in that area. So, therefore, try to find out what is their requirement, what they want, what is their need, what are their pressing demands, and then try to associate your writing with those needs, that they will be able to take that information and use it. Then I have found on the basis of the analysis of certain writings that there are 4 R's which are very important. 4 R stands, first R stands for recent, second R for reliable, third for realistic and fourth are relevant. So, 4 R is the test of your writing. Whatever you have written, check against these 4 R's, that is, first is recent. Whatever you are writing, how much it is recently connected with their problems or solutions. It should be of recent origin, it should not be very old, because they are in this profession, they already know a lot of things which even a person who has just graduated in agriculture may not be knowing. Therefore, try to find out to give them whatever information which of recent origin, which is not stale. Second R stands for reliable. Reliability is very important. Never suggest something in which you do not feel yourself very confident. Never write on those subject matter in which you yourself are not sure. It is very important that whatever you write, it should be reliable, and it should be, they should be able to use it. That is the another important R. That third is realistic. Whatever information you are giving, it should be realistic, because they will try it out. They are not just read it and forget about it. It does not happen. They just believe the print material very much, and they will store them for future use. So, therefore, whatever you write, it should be realistic, based on real data, real information, practices which will be useful to them. And next R is relevant. Relevant in their context, relevant in their practices, relevant in their system. For example, farmers in one area will be basically growing cotton. In another area, they will be growing wheat. Now, you should be able to give the information related to cotton, write it down for those farmers who are in the cotton belt, and give their interviews, give their informations, name them. Then it becomes more realistic and also most reliable, and people will be interested to know about it. So, remember 4 R's: recent, reliable, realistic, and relevant. In addition to that, whatever we are going to write, it should be in a simple language. There is no place for flowery language, literary language, metaphors. Why? Because they are not interested to, or you are not teaching them the language. They are interested more in the content of the information, and that content of information presented in a very simple style to them. That is what is very important. And next thing is related to the surroundings, where they live, what they do, how do they feel in that real surroundings. Keep the information available, readily available to them, and relate it to their situations, places, themselves. How we can do that? That is a big question. For doing this, you can always go to that area, have discussions with some people, quote them in your writings, so they become more relevant, they become more credible, and the people would like to accept it and use it. So, the credibility of your writing is very important, and for that you will have to do little bit of research, going to that area, talking to the people, collecting the information, analyzing that, and putting them into the order. So, to make it credible, if you use some names, if you use some areas where you have made the observations about the practice, about the information, mention it there. So, these are some of the important points if you want to be effective writer for farm magazines for the farmers, you will have to follow. Next question is, how can I increase readability? Most of the material which has been written for the farmers, for the rural areas and rural people, it has been found that readability is very poor. What does the readability means? Readability means that the person should be able to read it, understand it, and should be able to take the action upon it. So, readability have three important components. If the person is not able to understand what you have written, then he will not accept it or he will not read it further. So, therefore, we always say readability is just like a blood tonic which increases circulation. If in the body blood circulation is good, then you have strength. You feel more active to do the certain work. So, therefore, if your writing is more readable, then there are chances that the people will read carefully, understand it and accept it. So, researchers have conducted in this area and found that there are 4 important steps for writing for farmers. First step is, as usually for anybody, whether it's urban areas or rural areas, is planning. Second step is writing, and third step is trimming. Trimming means after you have written, you go through again and you prune the things, the words, the sentences which you think are not required. And fourth is checking and rechecking. So, these are the 4 simple steps for writing effectively, making your text more readable for the farmers. Let us come to the step by step. That is, first step is planning. Now, whenever you start writing, you should ask 3 questions yourself. That why are you writing? What is your purpose? What is your objective? What do you think should be learning outcome? That means you are writing with a purpose. You want to give them some information. Therefore, you must devote time before writing. That is what we say, think before you ink. Before you start writing, think on that topic. Second question is, why you want to tell this information? That is the message. So, first was, what is your purpose? You should be very clear about your purpose. That if you are writing this news story, or if you are writing in the future, or whatever article you are writing, then what is your purpose? You want to make them aware, you want to create interest in them for that information, or you want them to try out that information, or you want them to evaluate against the existing practices, or you want them to adopt immediately. What is in your mind? So, your objectives must be clear, because once you say that this information is only for awareness, then you will write in that style. So, I told you 4 or 5 important objectives: awareness, interest, trial, evaluation and adoption. For which stage you want to write. Accordingly, you will plan it, plan the information. So, the content, that is the message, for what purpose you have to give it. And third is, what is the profile of your audience? For whom you are writing, what is their profile? Profile means their literacy level, which is very important, their interests, their need, and as I discussed earlier, socio-cultural, economic status. That is the profile. Before writing, you must know their profile. How much background knowledge they have about that subject, how much they already know, what newer areas they want to know. All that has to be analyzed and kept with you, so that when you are writing, you are very clear that this message, when I am writing for this type of audience and communicating the information to them. So, in planning, 3 questions you must ask yourself. Why are you writing? That is your purpose with objectives. What you want to tell, message or content. And third is, what is profile of your audience? That is their needs, interest, socioeconomic status and any other specialized interests. Now, if these things are taken care of at planning, I would say the first step of planning has been met very effectively. Now, come to the second step. Second step is writing. Once you have planned everything, you have collected the information, then you have found the answer of those 3 questions, then you will arrange your message in the following order. Number 1, whatever you are writing, you have to follow a certain order. Number 1 is the bait your readers, means develop interest in them, attract them by using catchy titles, by using interesting introduction. These things, if you are able to use, then you will be able to attract them. I think these days, best way of attracting is a opening economic benefits sentences. If you tell them, whatever you are going to read, this will help you in increasing your yield at least by 40%, 30%, increase your profit, they get attracted. They say, let us read how it is being done. So, that is baiting your readers, attracting your readers so that they read it, whatever information you are giving them. Second is orient your readers. What does it mean to orient your readers? Orient your readers means you develop identification with your topic, with your subject, with their interest. They have interest, you have a topic, you want to give them information, but associate them that this information on this topic will meet this interest of theirs. If you adopt this information, maybe let us say you are going to talk about the new variety of seed, then you must say the new variety of seed will help you in increasing your yield by 20% or 30%, and the return in terms of money will maybe more, minimum at least 30%. So try to orient your readers with the identification of subject that you have been doing this practice earlier, you have been growing wheat or you are growing cotton, but this is the information which I am giving you. It will help you in reaping these benefits. Third is focus the outline of writing. What does it mean, focus the outline of the writing? That means whatever you are going to write, focus on the basics of your text which will develop interest in them. Remember, you had first phase was planning. In planning, you have already done certain things, you have already examined, developed and worked out their interest levels, their profiles, all that has been done in your planning. That must be used in the second step, that is in writing step. So while writing, you will take care of all those information which you have collected planning stage to build up your text. And fourth thing is, never forget to summarize or conclude. That also in a challenging manner. Challenging manners. How can you do that in challenging manner? Means if you adopt this information, I am sure that your benefits will increase by 3 times. Now that is a challenging manner. You are trying to put the information in such a manner so that they are able to remember in clear words that this was a challenge thrown by you. So this was the second. In continuation of that, I must give you some of the simplest researches done in this area and what has come out. I have analyzed almost about 60 publications which have been distributed to the farmers and found these are the weaknesses in the writings, what they have written. We find that the scientists have written in difficult words. For example, write rising instead of spiraling. Spiraling means that prices are rising and all that. Use simple words, even simplest words, which they will understand. There is no point in using difficult words. Try to find out those words which they are using in daily life. Otherwise, it is very difficult. They don't keep dictionary with them to open and find out the meaning of that word. If they have not understood the meaning of that word, they will forget about it. So make your writing more valuable. Use simplest language. Then specific words. The words which you are using, take care of them. Whether they understand the meaning of that word, whether they are able to keep that word in their present context or not. Third is technical words. Technical words means the words which are written in a more technical manner. Translate those words without losing exact meaning. For example, I think in the medical profession, other day I was observing, when doctor was telling to the patient, take this medicine after every 6 hours. Now a poor farmer, person living in rural areas, he doesn't know how to work out 6 hours. He doesn't have a watch. But when doctor felt that he is not able to understand, then he translated this information in a very simple way. He said, when sun rises in the early morning, when sun come out, take this dose of the medicine. When sun is on the top of your head, then take another dose of this medicine. When sun is going down, evening has started, take another dose of the medicine. So now you see how he translated the message. A technical message, a specific message, so that they can understand. I can take another good example. In the area of agriculture, in the area of the farmers, for example, to take, easily it is written, use 0.2% of the solution to spray. Now, how many people can prepare 2.2% solution? So, you will have to explain them that if you take 100 parts of the water and 2 parts of the medicine, then it becomes 2%. But when you take 2 parts of the medicine and 1000 parts of the water, then it becomes 0.2%. So, if you are taking water, 0.2% means 1000 parts should be the water and 2 parts of this medicine. That they will be able to understand very clearly. So, I think that care has to be taken. That technical information has to be communicated in a simpler form. Then punctuations are very important. They must be marked very clearly in your text. Other thing which researchers have indicated, shorter sentences are more effective, shorter in length. So, if you want the sentences to really to be understood well, make them short. And how much short? As much as you can. But never make the sentence more than 20 words. It is said that if average length of a sentence is 17 to 19 words, it is a good sentence. Please remember, when we talk, we don't use big sentences. But when we write, we go on making sentences of 3 lines, 4 lines. By adding if, but, and. Now, that is not desirable. We should try to use simpler words, shorter sentences. I have been able to read some of the writings of Mahatma Gandhi, his newspaper Harijan, in which he has sentenced, some of the sentences were of 5 words, 4 words. I think it is a difficult process, it is a difficult method of accepting it and doing it, but it has got to be done. We should try to make sentences as short as possible. Always see how can we make sentences with a fewer number of words and never exceeds more than 20 words per sentence. That is a criteria has to be followed. After we have done the writing part of it, then we come to trimming. Trimming, trimming means to cut down. While we are writing, we use number of words for same expression. So trimming means that the common fault of your writing, like wordiness, using so many words to express it, has to be removed. Like we say, a tree should be trimmed. When it grows out of size, then we prune the tree, prune the bush. So therefore, pruning of writing is as important as planning and writing the text. The more you prune without loss of the subject matter, without the loss of the information, pruning has to be done. And if you are able to do good pruning, it means you are able to make sentences short, you are able to use simpler words to understand, and you are able to take care of the technical words, scientific words, you are able to find out the easier and simpler version or translation of those words, then it will be quite good. So therefore, in trimming, the pruning of the writing is to be done. Remove those words which are ambiguous, which are difficult to understand, which are not familiar with them, and look and search for simpler words, familiar words, and use them in those sentences. Actually, people say good writing, he is a good writer. I would say, of course, he is a good writer. Why? Because he is good in rewriting. If you write 2 times, 3 times the same information, then you will see yourself that you have been able to express better. So rewriting of the same information 2 to 3 times will help you in writing well, in writing which has meaning and which is simpler to understand by the rural people. So therefore, you must do good pruning and trimming of your lines. Whichever you think unnecessary, whichever you think is sentences are not required, that information is not required by them, remove them sentences from your text. Don't keep them there. So your text will have 4 important parts, whatever you are writing. First will be introduction. Introduction means where you want to develop identification with your subject matter by the readers. So, you introduce your topic. Second is, you will check that your sentences are short, relevant, unnecessary words have been avoided, and use of articles. I gave an example, I took it from one writing written by a person who is agriculture expert. He wrote, the making of silage is one of the best ways of preserving the roughage. I repeat it, the making of silage is one of the best ways of preserving the roughage. Now here you try to analyze this sentence. What is the use of the? You could easily say making of silage is one of the best ways of preserving roughage. The word has been unnecessary, is redundant, can be cut off. And why you say making of silage? Silage making is all right, then you can remove word like off. Just say making silage. So, go carefully, word by word, and see which can be removed without changing the meaning and information you want to pass it on to the people. So, in this sentence, you can remove both the these and off, and you can read it. So, first I am reading the sentence. The making of silage is one of the best ways of preserving the roughage. Now, after removing the articles, that is, making silage is one of the best ways of preserving roughage. Now, you see, after cutting it down, as far as the meaning of this message is concerned, it remains the same. There is no change. So, my submission is, when you are writing, you must go on checking, rechecking, rewriting, and see what can be easily removed and taken care of. Then I can give you some example of the redundant words. Please see these redundant words. Like, I find many people write consensus of opinion is. Now, why do you write consensus of opinion is? Consensus is always opinion. So, you just cut down, you just say consensus is. Of opinion is removed, not required. Or I find something, Ram asked the question. Question is always asked. So, you can simply ask, say Ram asks. The question can be easily removed. These are redundant words. Like, for another thing, absolutely complete. Now, when it is complete, it is absolutely complete. Then why should we say absolutely complete? Absolutely should be removed. Or we say the factual information is. Instead of factual information, we should say fact. Fact is this. What I am trying to explain, please use your decisions, your writing skills, and try to see how we can avoid redundant words, articles, how can we get rid of some of those things while writing for them. So therefore, when you prune, you polish, as we say for the people, that pruning of trees gives you or gives the plants a new life. The new leaves comes, new branches comes, and new flowers and more fruits. So, in other words, pruning makes the text brief. So, brevity is the art of saying volumes. You must be able to express in fewer words, simpler sentences, avoid all those complicated technical words, make them in their languages which is familiar and useful to them. Then the last part is checking and rechecking. If you want to increase readability, then how should you do that? As I said, readability is like a blood tonic of your message. If readability is high, the people will be able to understand the message very clearly. So, the average sentence which you are using, the length, as I indicated you earlier, as the research has also shown in our context, should not be more than 17 to 19 words, or in other words 20 words. Sentence should be simple, should be shorter, even if it is 5 words, is good. So, the test is that your sentence is how easily it could be read, understood by the reader. That is a litmus test, how it is easy to read and understand. Second is, while we are writing, as I mentioned to you, that if you can mention some of the familiar areas, some of the familiar names, who have been using that information or who are likely to use that information, then these percentages of the personal words and personal sentences make the text interesting. You have to take care of the text and make it interesting, how it would be possibly could be done. And technical information should be rechecked. Whatever you are giving the information, technical information, you must recheck whether it is correct. I have seen some of those publications which have been written, either it may be printer's mistake or it may be at the time of proofreading. But if a mistake goes on, then it is a real mistake of your material or subject matter. Nobody is going to blame a printer or a proofreader. It is you who will be blamed, because you have written the whole material. Therefore, be careful before final print order is given, that you must ensure all corrections have been carried out and all the information has been rechecked and seen that they are all correct. There is no scope for any mistake to be going through your published material. It has to be completely avoided in that context. A study has been made. Some of my students have also conducted a study, and we find that many of the literature which has been produced by research stations for the farmers, many of the information which has been written for the use of the rural people is not being used by them. Reason are many. Number one, the person who has written the text, he has not been able to associate it with their need, with their interest, and has not been able to indicate that what will benefit to him. I give you one example. In one of the writing, it was written that if you adopt this particular variety of wheat, then the shortage of the wheat can be reduced easily, and hunger, which has been creating problems throughout the world, can be taken care of. Now, how the reader is interested, whether you are able to take the hunger, remove the hunger, or the world you are able to feed it. But if you write, if you are going to adopt this wheat seed or wheat variety, you can increase your yield by 20%. That means you will be able to earn so much of money. Now that will click. Then he knows, if I use this, I am able to get so much of profit. 20% I am able to get the profit more. Then he reads your text. So therefore, please take care of it, that when you are writing, associate with his interest, his need, his profitability. Why should he read? If you are not able to work out and answer this question, that why should he read and what he will get after reading your material. Until unless this question is answered well, he will not read it. So many of the literature, many of the writings which are produced are not read by the farmers or by the rural people. They lose their interest as soon as they read the introduction. Introductions are very lengthy. It has been found our introduction are written in a style which does not create interest in them and does not focus on their problems and their needs. That is the one important reason. Second is that the style which has been used for writing, they are not able to develop familiarity with it. What does it mean, familiarity with it? Suppose you add the location, name of the village, area, name of the farmer, people, then they are able to associate that, oh, this information, yes, I know this person, I know that area, and then he is able to associate himself. So develop some important points which you should take care of so that they become more familiar, they feel at home. Yes, this is not something theoretical, it is something which my colleague has done or my fellow farmer has done. So that care has to be taken. Third important thing which I also mentioned here, that try to put the information in a language which they will be able to understand, interpret and take the action accordingly. And fifth thing which people forget, they give all the information, everything, where it is available. How he can get the information. Suppose you are recommended a fertilizer, a wheat or a variety, where it is available. He says everything is fine, but where should I contact you? Where should I go? So never forget about the sources of their availability, or contact him, whom should he contact, where should he go. All that information should be given. Otherwise, the whole thing becomes useless. So you never forget to mention your own contacts, information through which he can contact you, or where it is available. If you have taken care of these things, I am sure your writing will be very effective, useful, meaningful. People will read it and preserve it for a longer period of time.
For all those who are already into the farm journalism, or already have made their career in the farm journalism, want to write for the farmers, or if they face any difficulty while writing for the farmers, I hope that whatever techniques, whatever methodology Professor Devesh Kishore has given with the help of this lecture, I hope that you are able to incorporate from now onwards in your writing, as well as this lecture was basically for the students who want to go for the journalism career. I hope that you would opt for farm journalism and write for the farmers at most. Thank you, Dr. Kishore. Thank you so very much for being the part of the EduSet lecture. And if you want to access this particular lecture, you can definitely access it with the help of YouTube, as we say that we daily upload our lectures on the YouTube. So for you, we always cater your needs. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.